She was just 1 mile away from home. 1 mile. 5 minutes. Maybe less. If she had made it inside that door, she would still be alive today. But she didn't. Because that night, someone was already watching her. Waiting. A man she had never seen before pulled over beside her and asked a simple question. "Do you need help?" She said no. And that should have been the end of it. But it wasn't. Because minutes later, that same man came back. And this time, he didn't ask. August 31st, 2003. A quiet desert road just outside Las Cruces, New Mexico. A man driving past an old landfill notices something strange. At first, it looks like trash, burned debris. But then he sees it. A human body. Face down, partially burned, barely recognizable. Police arrive within minutes, and what they find is disturbing. This wasn't just murder. This was rage. This was control. This was something far more violent than anyone expected. The victim was Katie Sepich, a 22-year-old recent college graduate. Smart, independent, and full of life. She had just earned her business degree and was preparing to start her MBA. She worked as a waitress, not because she needed to, but because she believed in earning everything herself. To her family, she was the strongest person they knew. To her friends, she was the happiest, the kind of person who lit up every room she walked into. But on that night, her light went out forever. Katie was in love, deeply, with a man named Joe. They met in college and quickly became inseparable. She believed he was the one. They talked about marriage, about the future, about building a life together. To everyone around them, they were perfect. But that night, everything cracked. It was Labor Day weekend. Joe was back in town. Katie was excited. They went out with friends, bar after bar, drink after drink, laughing, dancing. Everything felt normal. Until one moment changed everything. Katie saw Joe kissing another girl right in front of her. The argument that followed was explosive, emotional, and sudden. Katie didn't wait. She didn't think. She just left. Alone. No phone. No purse. No keys. Just 1 mile to walk. A route she knew. A street she trusted. But that night, she wasn't alone. Because somewhere in the dark, someone had already noticed her. Someone who wasn't just passing by, but someone who was paying attention. Think about that. A stranger, driving through the night, scanning the streets, looking for someone vulnerable. Not by accident, not by coincidence, but by intention. The next morning, Katie didn't answer her phone. She didn't come home. And that wasn't normal. Not for her. Her roommate started calling everyone. Friends, hospitals. No one had seen her. By afternoon, panic set in. Katie was missing. And at the exact same time, police were trying to identify a body in the desert. The body had no ID, but the signs were clear. This was brutal. There were scratches, bruises, defensive wounds. She had fought back, hard. Investigators could tell this wasn't quick. This wasn't sudden. This was prolonged. A desperate fight for survival. Under her fingernails, investigators found skin. DNA. The killer's DNA. A tiny detail, but one that would become the most important piece of evidence in the entire case. At that moment, they didn't know who it belonged to, but they knew something else. Whoever did this didn't walk away clean. Katie's father was called in, and in one moment, his entire world ended. No parent should ever have to do that. But he did. And the truth was final. Police retraced everything. The party, the argument, the last people who saw her. All eyes turned to Joe, the boyfriend, the fight, the last person with her. And then, he made things worse. He refused DNA, lawyered up, left town. To investigators, it screamed guilt. To the public, it looked obvious. People started forming theories, online discussions. Everyone thought they knew the answer. But real cases aren't solved by guesses. They're solved by facts. And the facts told a different story. The DNA came back. It didn't match Joe, not even close. Just like that, everything flipped. The man everyone suspected was innocent. And the real killer was still out there. Think about how terrifying that is. A man capable of this level of violence, walking free, blending in, living normally, while a family is left searching for answers. Police went back to the root, knocking doors, asking neighbors, looking for anything unusual, but nothing stood out. No witnesses, no sounds, no screams. It was like she vanished. Then they found something small, but incredibly important. Katie's shoes, right outside her window. That detail changed everything, because it meant she made it home. She was right there, right at the point of safety. She tried to get inside, probably realized she didn't have her keys. So she removed her shoes to climb through the window quietly. And that's when he struck. There were signs of struggle, marks in the gravel, disturbed ground, evidence of resistance. This wasn't quick. This wasn't silent. She fought hard, but he was stronger. He forced her into his vehicle, and within seconds, she disappeared into the night. No one saw, no one heard. One moment, she was there. The next, she was gone. Out in the desert, far from help, far from light, far from anyone who could hear her. He attacked her, assaulted her, and then he strangled her. Slowly, deliberately. This wasn't panic. This wasn't an accident. This was control. And Katie fought until the very end. The injuries proved it. The scratches, the DNA. Every mark told the same story. She didn't give up, but he didn't stop. After it was over, he tried to erase everything. Gasoline, fire, an attempt to destroy evidence, to erase identity, to disappear without a trace. But he failed. The fire didn't last, and that failure would eventually expose him. Weeks passed, then months, then years. The DNA sat in the system, waiting. No matches, no suspects, no answers. The case went cold. And for Katie's family, time didn't bring peace. It didn't bring healing. It only brought more questions, more silence, more pain. Every day, the same thought. Who did this? And why? Then, more than 3 years later, everything changed. A DNA match. Finally. The name, Gabriel Avila. A repeat offender. A man with a history of violence. A man who had been in the system before. And the most chilling part, he didn't know Katie. At all. This wasn't personal. This wasn't revenge. This was random. When investigators looked deeper into his past, it became even more disturbing. Just months after Katie's murder, he broke into another home, armed with a knife, targeting 2 women. That means one thing. If he hadn't been caught, he would have done it again. When police confronted him, he confessed. No hesitation, no denial, just the truth. He said that night, he was driving around, looking. He saw Katie walking alone. He stopped, offered a ride. She refused. That should have been the end. But it wasn't, because something in his mind didn't let it go. He drove away, but then he turned around, came back, and when he saw her again, trying to get into her house, vulnerable, distracted, alone, he made his move. That moment changed everything. Katie fought back. She scratched him. She resisted with everything she had. And in doing that, she left behind the one piece of evidence that would later identify him. But in that moment, she was alone. And he didn't stop. In his own words, I just kept squeezing and couldn't stop. In 2007, he was sentenced to decades in prison. Justice? Maybe. But for Katie's family, there's no real ending, no closure. No way to undo what happened. Only memories. Only silence. Only the question of what her life could have been. Katie did everything right. She refused a stranger. She went home. She fought back. She survived as long as she could, and still, it wasn't enough. Because sometimes, danger doesn't wait for a mistake. Sometimes, it waits for a moment.